Hi there. I just got done teaching Feldenkrais movement class. It's called Awareness to Movement. And it typically lasts 45 minutes to 60 minutes. And so anyways, I thought that I'd do a quick video and to show you some of the movements that we did practice during the class today. And typically during the class, the movements are done very, very slowly. And the reason why is that when you move slowly, and it's easier to pay attention so that you can become aware of your own habitual movement patterns, and then it's easier to adapt a new movement patterns. But anyways, for now, for this video, I'm just gonna pick a few parts of the movements we did today. So you're going to lie down on your back, and once you're lying down on your back and you're going to bend your legs, your feet are flat on the floor. And when you stand your feet, and I'd like you to pay attention the distance between your knees, how far, and then distance between your feet as well, how close, how far, and the relationship between the knees and the feet, whether the knees are inside of your feet or whether the knees are outside of your feet. And that, okay, so the reason why that is important is that it makes a difference. And so when you have your feet too close and then you're balancing your feet like this way, you don't really have good base of support. And so it's not easy to maintain your balance. Or if you have your feet a little bit too wide, that's not easy as well. It's not easy to move and initiate the movements there. So, and some people, they tend to have their feet turned out or turned in, or they tend to stand and distribute the weight towards the outside of the feet, or sometimes more towards the inside of the feet. And part of the reason why we are doing this class of doing the movements so slowly is that it gives you a chance, and so that you become aware of your habitual ways of standing your feet. How you stand your feet in this position, you're probably going to find the same position when you're standing up too. So just to pay attention to that. And first, I'd like you to know how you stand your feet habitually, and then after you know how you stand your feet habitually, and just to see if you can find a place where your knees are, your hips, knees, your ankles, your feet are in a straight line, more or less. So not like this, not like that, more or less like this. And I'd like you to feel and find a place where your feet are more or less parallel to each other, so that the toes are not turned in or turned out. Okay? Doesn't have to be perfect, but close to that. And from there, you're going to press in your heels and push through the heels and direct that push to the top of the head. So the head moves upward slightly, and then when you release the pressure of the feet, and then the force goes down and back to the feet. Push and back. Very subtle movement, but all I'm doing is I'm pressing through my heels, and to do that. And most people have a habitual way of using the legs, and maybe you find that you used your right leg more than the other leg, or maybe you used the left leg more than the right. And in either case, if you push off more from one leg than the other leg, and what happens is the direction of the force, it deviates to the side, right? So if I'm going to push harder with my right leg than the left leg, and when I push both feet, and that will take me to my left side. So I kind of shift my weight to the left side here. Okay. And Maybe it's not so obvious, but I guarantee most people will have a bias. And then if you do slow down the movements and pay attention, and you'll probably find out that you use one leg more than the other leg. So just to see if you can find out which leg is your dominant leg. You prefer to use that leg. And then once you know which leg that is, and then you can switch that, you can push a little bit harder with your non-dominant or non-habitual leg intentionally so that you can feel the difference. It probably feels awkward because you're not used to pushing off on that leg. Okay? And after you've done a few times with the non-dominant leg, and then try to distribute the effort between the 2 feet, and then you push off from the 2 feet. See if that movement and direction of the movement becomes a little more clear. There. Okay. So another thing that we did play with during the class today is just so that you know, for some people who tend to push off from the inside or from the outside, I had my my students to do the push-off from the inside of the feet. Okay, so I'm kind of spreading my feet apart and bringing the knees closer together. So I'm just exaggerating my patterns. Okay, so I'm standing on my inside of my feet, and then I'm pushing off from there. And it's pretty clear that I can't push off very well because I don't have much surface of the feet that I can use to push off. Okay, so it's really hard. Then I have to work a lot harder, my trunk, other places, to direct that force to the head. Okay, so that doesn't really work well. And then I had them also, now do the other way, and have your feet a little closer, and then let the knees go out a little bit, and then shifting away on the outside of the feet. So I'm almost about to roll my ankles, okay, and then I push off on the outer edge of my feet, which is very, very uncomfortable. I can't really get a good push off from outside of my feet only, okay? So that's not very efficient. It doesn't really generate a lot of force and power. So then I come back to the place where my feet and my weight are well distributed between the 2 feet, and my legs are organized well. So the hips, knees, and the heels, ankles are in a straight line. And then I push off from both feet. And the direction of the force is much more clear. And it's easier. I have more power. There. And once you've done that, and then we did do the same thing with one leg. Standing on one leg, and then I had them also do push off from the inside of the foot intentionally, so you feel the lack of power, lack of stability. You push off and trying to lift the hip by pushing off through that foot, which is not easy to do from that place. And then I do the other way. I'm bringing my foot to the inside. I'm standing on the outside of my foot and pushing off from there. I can do it. I can lift my hip, but it's not easy to do. I feel like I need to use my back. I need to work hard on my back to lift that hip. So, and then I find a place where I have good support from the ground, and then I can push up well from my foot. Okay, and then I push, and then I lift my hip, and it's much easier. There. Okay. Then I still have a good support, stability on my right foot, right knee, right hip, and my back. But if I lose the ground, then everything else becomes unstable. Then I have to work extra hard to stabilize myself. Then increase in effort, maybe low back, maybe some other places. Then I did the other side, Same thing, just experiment pushing off from the inside, outside, and find a place where you can efficiently push off. And do that. And then we went back to the 2 feet, and then we check to push off from both heels, and to see if that has become easier and more clear. And then lifting one foot and finding the support on the one foot. Stability, so the knee wouldn't move to the inside or the outside. And then bring the foot down. Then I lift the other foot. So I'm maintaining a support from the ground. And down. So that's it. And so this was an example of Feldenkrais movement class that I do teach. And as I mentioned, the movements are done at much slower pace during the class because it's easier to pay attention and then also try and adapting the new movement patterns, as well as becoming aware of your own habitual patterns. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed it, and I plan on showing just a part of the movements from the class from time to time. And if you do have any comments and questions, and please write them down in the comment section, and I would appreciate that. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel, and please consider subscribing to the channel. I appreciate that. Okay, so thank you, and thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. All right, bye now.